Hello, Captains. Welcome to my continuing exploration and celebration of the 30th anniversary of Star Trek: The Next Generation. This time, I've got a very special ship to show you. This is in the game Star Trek Online, and this is celebrating the Galaxy variants seen in Star Trek: The Next Generation and the Galaxy variants that this game has. And this is a very special one indeed. Oh my gosh, we got 3 nacelles going. We've got a Spinal Lance. That's right, this is the alternate Enterprise D from All Good Things in Star Trek: The Next Generation. So as we know, Star Trek: The Next Generation ended with the episode All Good Things. It was a very, very good ending to the series, and glad that it got a proper wrap-up. In that episode, there was an alternate future that was explored. This was because Q created an environment in which Picard could learn something, right? Well, he definitely learned something, and we had an alternate future, and in that alternate future, the Enterprise D, the flagship of the Federation, went through a refit. It was refitted in the 2390s, and it was made into what you see here today. Technically, it's a dreadnought kind of ship. It is still the flagship of the Federation, and in fact, it was going to be decommissioned. However, Admiral Riker took it out of mothballs and made it his own ship. So you can thank Admiral Riker in the alternate future for saving this ship. And as I said, it undergone a refit in the 2390s. And as you can see, it's got a third nacelle. It's got this heavy-duty phaser beam underneath it. It's got more photon torpedo bays. It is a very, very capable starship for the alternate timeline. Now, since the Enterprise D refit here was seen in that alternate future, it is a canon ship in the TV series, in the franchise, in the universe. It is an alternate future. Now, in Star Trek, it believes in the multiverse theory. We saw that with Worf when the Worf episode aired, and he was like going through multiple realities. In the Star Trek universe, there are an infinite number of realities or universes or timelines, however you want to think about it. And so that ultimately means that even though that alternate future lasted because of something Q did, it is still a possibility that exists. And if you could cross the barriers of the different dimensions, you could possibly end up in that alternate future. It is a possibility, a universe that exists. Therefore, the Enterprise D refit, as you see it here, technically exists. Now, in that episode, they did not talk a lot about the technical specifications of this dreadnought. So what has happened is, since then, games like Star Trek Online and some other games have expanded upon that and pretty much filled in the gaps to give this ship some specifications of what it would have been like in the TV show. Some of the things are canon, like the way it looks. It obviously had 3 nacelles and the big Spinal Lance, and it could also cloak in the TV show. So those 3 things it definitely had. Some of the other things we don't technically know would be correct or not, but since nothing's been said on the TV screen, this stuff has been filled in soft canon. So basically, the ship is called Galaxy X with a big X. That is a Dreadnought class. So Dreadnought is a subset of the Galaxy class. It was refitted at the turn of the 25th century, as we just said. It was in service through the 24th, into the 24th century and through the 25th century. It has the same length as the regular Enterprise. This is 642.5 meters. That's actually, I think, 1 meter longer than the than the original Enterprise without the refit. Don't know what would make it longer exactly, but it is, I think, 1 meter longer. It has the same number of decks, 42. It has the same amount of crew, 1,000. So that kind of stuff didn't change. But what did change is, as you can see, it has gained a third nacelle. So the nacelle increases the ship's speed quite a bit. In fact, the maximum warp speed of this ship was 9.99. That is faster than Voyager went. That's faster than Voyager. So this thing was the fastest ship at the time in the 2390s. 9.99 with that third nacelle. So this sucker's fast. But beyond that, it has other abilities too. Now this is soft canon because we didn't see it in the TV show, but in the game Star Trek Online, the ship has transwarp capability and quantum slipstream capability. And it would make sense that through the 25th century, perhaps it did gain these abilities. So in that alternate future timeline, perhaps it did actually also have transwarp and slipstream, which makes it a very versatile ship. It can get from anywhere to anywhere very fast on warp or transwarp or slipstream. Now, in terms of its offensive ability, also extremely powerful. 17 phaser arrays, 3 torpedo launchers, dual phaser cannon, and phaser Spinal Lance. And here's the Spinal Lance. We saw this Spinal Lance in action in All Good Things as Riker pulled this ship straight up and fired it right through a Klingon ship. So it's a very powerful Spinal Lance. And in the game, it's not as powerful as it was in the TV show. But in the TV show, it was super powerful. Okay? It could break through the shields of those Klingons like they were not even there. So very, very powerful. Also, in the TV show, it had a cloaking device because he decloaked and came out of nowhere. So this ship has a cloaking device. And the reason that that's allowed is because in the alternate future, the breakdown with the Klingons had occurred, and the Kitamura Accords thing, or whatever it was that kept the Federation from using cloaking devices against the Klingons, was no longer a thing. Because the Klingons, first of all, in the alternate future timeline, had taken over the Romulan Empire. So Romulus did not go supernova. The sun did not, the star, Hobus, did not go supernova, did not destroy Romulus, but instead, in this alternate future, the Klingons took over the Romulan Empire, and the Federation was at full war with the Klingons. So we were using cloaking devices in that alternate future, and the Enterprise D here definitely had a cloaking device. And one thing it also has, which we didn't see in the TV show but was expanded upon in the game here, is auxiliary craft. It's able to launch auxiliary craft as fighters, like the Peregrine fighters or shuttles or Delta flyers or whatever you want to use basically in it. It could launch shuttles to use as fighters, as support craft. So that's something also that it had. So we have to, of course, separate what was seen on the TV series on the TV screen and then what we have in game, because some of it's a little bit different, and they had to expand upon it in the game to make a viable ship. So that's pretty much all we know from the TV show about this ship. Is it's fast, it had 3 nacelles, it had a Spinal Lance, it could cloak. Those were the basics right there. And it looks pretty awesome too. So now we come to the game version, the Galaxy X Dreadnought in the game. This is technically called a Dreadnought Cruiser, is what this is called, the Dreadnought Cruiser. It's still called also a Galaxy X. You'll see it called Galaxy X. It is a Dreadnought, and it does have auxiliary craft. So this is the first ship I am showing in this series of Galaxy variants that actually has fighters or support craft, a hangar bay to launch fighters, which makes it very, very, very useful. This is still a Tier 5 ship, so we have not moved on from Tier 5 yet. In the last video, we looked at the Tier 5 retrofit, and I had upgraded it to a Tier 5-U. So that ship had saucer separation, of course. This ship is a whole different bag of tricks. This one does not have the same console set that the other cruiser variants had that we were looking at. Because this is a Dreadnought, it's its own new thing, and it has a new console we haven't had before, which is also part of a set we haven't seen yet before, and it is combined with the Tier 6 version of this Dreadnought. So there is a Tier 6 version. This is the Tier 5 version you see on screen, but there is a Tier 6 version. And when you put the console of the Tier 6 and the Tier 5 together, it has its own unique set separate of the whole cruiser, the regular cruiser non-Dreadnought versions we looked at before. But this is still Tier 5. So let's go to the Z store and we'll read about it here. You go to Ships Tier 5. This is the last of the Tier 5 Galaxy variants, by the way. It is C store again, so you have to, pay money to do it, to own this ship. There is no free Dreadnought. It says, a retrofit of the Galaxy-class exploration cruiser first seen in All Good Things, the Dreadnought Exploration Cruiser is equipped with a massive Spinal Phaser Lance and a Cloaking Device console. It's the only Federation cruiser that can equip dual cannons, so this thing does support cannons, although in my opinion it's too slow to use them. Minimum rank is Vice Admiral, and there was a little confusion in the last video, and I apologize for that. I had said that Tier 5 ships were level 40. Well, actually, these C-Store ships are level 50. They're Vice Admiral level. That's level 50, not 40. I think you do get Tier 5 ships at 40, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Yeah, you do get a new ship. You get Tier 5 ships. However, the C-Store ones are Vice Admiral level 50. You have to wait until you're a Vice Admiral. So even though they're Tier 5, they're still level 50 ships. Now, this one has 4 fore and 4 aft weapon slots. That's the same as the Tier 5 retrofit that we looked at previously. It has 1 Lieutenant Tactical, 1 Commander Engineering, so it still has that Commander Engineering seating, very engineering heavy. 1 Lieutenant Commander Engineering, 1 Lieutenant Science, and 1 Ensign Universal. So that's new here, an Ensign Universal, the first Universal slot in a Galaxy variant Starship in this game. Console upgrades, it has only 2 tactical. So yeah, even the base of it is 2 tactical. That's the same as the Tier 5 retrofit, 2 Science and 4 Engineering. Pretty much very similar to the Tier 5 retrofit. 6 degrees per second turn rate, 39,000 hull strength. So the hull strength is actually exactly the same as the Tier 5 retrofit. So what you're seeing here is that these specifications on this ship are actually pretty much the Tier 5 retrofit, just with a couple of enhancements. It has +5 to all power systems. It has the Spinal Phaser Lance, the Cloaking Device. It can equip cannons, and it has 1 hangar bay with 1 wing type Type 8 shuttles. Now you can change that out. You don't have to use the Type 8 shuttles. They're very terrible, so you would want to change that out anyway. It also has cruiser communications array, but only 2 of them this time. It's got command, weapon system efficiency, and then attract fire. So it's missing the shield and the strategic maneuvering one. So it cuts the communication array abilities in half compared to the other cruisers that we've looked at so far. But as you can see, the hull strength on this thing is the same as the Tier 5 retrofit. And the bridge officer seating is very close, except now you have this Ensign Universal. And then the console upgrades are the same as well. And then the weapon slots are the same. So this ship is pretty much a Tier 5 retrofit, but with shuttles, a phaser Spinal Lance, and a Cloaking Device, and the Ensign Universal seating. It does not have saucer separation. So if you get this ship and you don't have any other cruiser variant, you will not have saucer separation, you will not have antimatter spread. You will not have those abilities on this Dreadnought. But if you do own those variants, you can put those consoles on this ship and then have those abilities. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Okay, let us take a look on the ground at all my things, and then we'll come back into space and take a look at more things, and then we'll go into combat. We'll take a look at the different appearance options you can set for this ship. So if we go to customize our ship, click Galaxy, and that's the default view of it. Obviously, you can see it a little bit better here. You've got these weapon ability things here. I don't know what they specifically do. These look like torpedo launchers, so you got 2 torpedo launchers maybe there, and then you should have an aft torpedo launcher too. I'm not exactly sure actually what all that stuff is, but it's extra stuff. Yeah, and of course you got the 3rd nacelle. You got the Spinal Lance underneath. That's definitely a discerning feature of this ship. Otherwise, it's shaped exactly like the Galaxy we know. It's got these little fin things here coming out the bottom, but pretty much it's the Galaxy class with an extra nacelle, Spinal Lance, and some things up top. But it looks really cool. A very powerful ship. There are different variants. You got, Monarch, Venture, Yamato. Those are different tiers. So if you own the other ships, you can, select different looks on it. You can change the material type. This one has 7 materials on it. Of course, that's because I own like the other ships too, so I'm getting materials probably you might not have. In terms of style, you've got you do have the different styles here. You've got the Galaxy for this Dreadnought, or you could do Galaxy Beta, which just changes it back to the regular Galaxy looking saucer. And for nacelle, you could also take that back, that little hump that's on the top. You could make those go away as well, I suppose, if you really wanted to. For the neck, nope, nothing there. The pylons, you can take that little bit off there on the bottom. You can just make it look like the regular Galaxy without that if you like. Or you can leave all that stuff on and then it is distinctly this ship. Let's see if the phaser lance goes away when we do this. Nope, the phaser lance is still there even if you do the Galaxy Beta saucer. So that's good to know. So that's pretty much what you can do in terms of visualization on the ship. Of course, you can change the interior. I like the Galaxy 2368 interior. So that's pretty much the ship stats and ship visuals. I'm going to show you my build now. The build is very similar to every other Galaxy variant that we've tested in this series. So if you've seen the other videos, the build has not changed. It's been consistent all the way through. And this one is going to be exactly the same as the retrofit we just saw. And you will notice I have upgraded it to Tier 5-U. That's right, Tier 5-U. So what did Tier 5-U do for me? Well, it upgraded the hull strength, so it upgraded it to like 46,000, same as the retrofit. It gave me the Starship Mastery unlocks, and it gave me an extra tactical console. So, similar to the retrofit, the U version or upgraded version is exactly the same. So all of the upgrades I got for the retrofit, I also can get for the Dreadnought Cruiser Tier 5. That's good because now we can have this Tier 5 ship that's just a little bit more powerful as an upgraded ship. And it definitely helps. It definitely helps. So again, I'm going to fly this as a Tier 5-U ship because those upgrades are not difficult to get. You can buy them in the C-Store or you can buy them on the exchange. Since you can buy them on the exchange and they're really not that expensive, anybody can get the money to do that, the energy credits. I'm going to go ahead and fly it as a Tier 5-U to show you the maximum power that it can be, the maximum, hull strength and everything that it can have. Having that extra tactical slot really helps. That gives me more damage, and that's exactly what you want. And then the Starship Mastery unlocks also further that ability. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at that, 5 engineering consoles, 3 tactical. So this thing is the Tier 5-U really did upgrade it. It gave me a lot more here. And of course I have the hangar bay and all the other abilities of the ship as well. So that Tier 5-U upgrade really helped. And I'll show you what the actual space stats are in space. But think of the Tier 5 retrofit we just looked at in the previous video. They're exactly the same. So, little spoiler there. The stats are the same. Because, believe it or not, even though it's a Dreadnought, for some reason in this game, the Tier 5 retrofit and the Tier 5 and this Tier 5 Dreadnought Cruiser share the same specs. So that's a little weird, but that's the way it is. So, as you can see, I've got my phaser build going on, 2 dual beam banks, the quantum phase beam array, the quantum phase catalyst set, the torpedo, I'm using the soul defense system, of course, and I have the full trilithium laced weaponry set on, which gives me speed tweaks and reinforced engineering bonuses. So I got I got 5% firing cycle haste, plus 15 flight speed, I got plus 20 all damage resistance, and plus 20 starship hull capacity out of that set. I've got my Trellium D, I've got my Xenotech power flow module, I got my reinforced armaments, and then of course 3 tactical. So everything you see here is the exact same as it was in the last video. No difference in terms of the build here, except for the hangar bay. That's new. So this ship default comes with these fighters right here, Hangar Type 8 shuttles. Launches a wing of 3 Level 61 Type 8 shuttles. Each hangar supports 2 deployed wings at a given time. So that's what you get. They're regular shuttles. Their abilities are not that great. Let's see, they're equipped with phaser arrays. Each hangar bay supports 2 wings. All carrier pets are immune to warp core breaches and have layered defenses 3, which makes them immune to a single torpedo hit every 30 seconds. But basically, these just have phaser arrays. They're very, very basic ships. Now, you can upgrade the hangar bay by going to the dilithium store and going to hangar pets. And here you have dilithium hangar pets. You've got advanced peregrine fighters you could put on this. These have phaser pulse cannons, dual phaser cannons, quantum torpedoes. You could put Type 10 shuttles on here. These have phaser arrays and polarized hull 1. You can put the Danube hangar on here, Danube runabouts. They have phaser arrays, chronoton torpedoes, and tractor beam. And you can put advanced Delta flyers that has phaser arrays, transphasic torpedoes, and tachyon beam. So that's what you can put in here out of the hangar pets. You can't put any other alien species hangar pets on here. It has to be just Federation hangar pets. Or the third option is you can go to your fleet starbase, and your fleet starbase will have elite hangar pets. And I went with the elite Type 10 shuttles. So this has phaser arrays, micro photon torpedoes, and polarized hull 1. So this is the best quality hangars you can get is from your fleet starbase. And I went with the Type 10 shuttles. So that's what I'll be flying with this ship. Definitely an upgrade from the default Type 8 shuttle. And let's see, stations. We have, of course, no specialized seating. You're not going to get a command seating or anything like that. But it does have a universal seating, and I have used that for a tactical ability. I now have tactical team, which I did not have on any of the previous builds, and I was actually missing that. I like tactical team. It rotates your shields automatically to whatever facing is taking damage, so I love it for that ability. And did not have it on the other cruiser builds, but this one I now have it. And then the other abilities are pretty much the same from the last builds we looked at, or the last build. I've got Fire at Will 2, I got Torpedo Spread 1, I got Structural Integrity Collapse 3, Engineering Team 2, And I went ahead and put Overload Integrity Field 1 on here. Got Directed Energy Modulation 3, Emergency Power to Shields 3, Emergency Power to Weapons 2, Emergency Power to Engines 1, and then Science Team 2 and Polarized Hull. So pretty much the same build throughout this. I wanted to keep my builds consistent throughout these videos so that you could see, you know, how the ships operate when, you know, the build is consistent. Because if I change the build every time, you wouldn't be able to compare the ships very easily. I'm using the same Starship Traits as well. Again, you can get Starship Traits in lock boxes or on the exchange, so everybody has access to them, and you can put them on any ship. So you don't have to have a ship that has a Starship Trait to use Starship Traits. So I'm definitely using that to my advantage, as you should. You definitely should. So that's pretty much the Dreadnought Cruiser build. It's basically the Tier 5 retrofit with just a few extra things on it. And without saucer separation. Now I do have those consoles. See, here's the saucer separation, and here's the antimatter spread from the Cruiser set. So I could put that on here. Oh, I forgot to show the Cloak. The Cloak is what comes with this ship. So this is the Universal Cloaking Device, Starship Stealth. And as you can see, it's its own set. It's part of a set called the Starfleet Maneuvering Protocol, which includes the Cloaking Device, this one, and then the Supplemental Subsystems console. And for that, you have to have the Tier 6 version. And if you put them together, you have a set 2 bonus called Overcloaked. And then there's another set called Stealth Fighter. If you had quad cannons and a quantum warhead, you could have a set 3 bonus called Advanced Cloaking Technologies. Actually, the Starfleet Maneuvering Protocol's ability is called Starfleet Maneuvering Protocol. So actually, this is 2 sets. I know that sounds a little confusing, but this can comprise 2 sets. It's part of the Starfleet Maneuvering Protocol set, which has the Cloaking Device, and then the Supplemental Subsystems. Those together give you the Starfleet Maneuvering Protocol. And then the Stealth Fighter set, if you have the quad cannons, the Cloaking Device, and a quantum warhead, you get Overcloaked, and then you get Advanced Cloaking Technologies. Those don't come on any of the Galaxy variants. The quad cannons, I believe, come on the Defiant, one of the Defiant variants. And then the quantum warhead, I forgot where that comes from. But if you get those other things, then you would have Overcloaked and Advanced Cloaking Technology. So actually, you could have a lot of things on this ship, a lot of different sets, but you would have to own a lot of different ships to get those consoles. So you're talking a lot of money to do that, obviously. Whew. So that's a lot of stuff right there. Let's go to space and look at it all. Now, something very important to keep in mind about this ship is that the phaser Spinal Lance is phaser-based energy type. So, to get the most from this ship, to buff it, to buff the energy type to the most ability that you can, you need to have a phaser build. Because, sure, you could put anti-proton weapons on here, but then if you go to use your Spinal Phaser Lance, it's not going to be as buffed as it could be, because you're going to end up putting anti-proton tactical consoles down here, and they're not going to do anything for that phaser Spinal Lance. But if you use phaser energy weapons on this thing, then these phaser tactical consoles increasing phaser damage will also increase the phaser damage of the Spinal Lance. So you want to keep it pure on this ship and do all phaser. That way you get the full advantage of the Spinal Lance. Now, if you just never plan to use the Spinal Lance, I guess you can just use whatever you want. But if you do want to use the Spinal Lance and you want it to be as powerful as it can be, then you want to use phaser damage buff tactical consoles, which means you're going to have to use phaser energy type weapons. That's just how that works, right? Here's where my power levels are sitting, 123, 96, 59, 80. You'll see that's like exactly the same from the last ship. When we go to the stats here, look at my hull strength. It's exactly the same as the last ship was, the Tier 5 retrofit. Still 100,557. My shield strength is the same. My resists are the same, right above 50%. Pretty much everything's the same. My crit chance and crit severity, because the build is pretty much the same. My turn rate is 10.6. So you will see that really, in terms of stats, this ship matches the Tier 5 retrofit, T5-U upgraded retrofit that we just looked at in the previous video. So there's really no benefits in terms of like stats. But in terms of weaponry, there's definitely benefits because you have the hangar bay and the Spinal Lance and the Cloak, which you don't have on the other ship. Here's what the Masteries do. You've got Regenerate Hull. We had that on the last one too. You've got the energy damage resistance and radiation damage resistance. You've got plus 2.5 critical chance. I think that's a little different. So I think my critical chance is actually a little higher maybe on the ship. 14.8, is that higher than the last one? I think so. So maybe my critical chance is just a little bit higher. And plus 10% whole hit points. Otherwise, this ship is exactly the same. Yeah, it's missing the kinetic. That's what it was. So the other one had kinetic damage resistance and physical damage resistance. And this one takes that out and puts in a critical chance buff. So that's the only difference there in the Mastery. Very small difference. Otherwise, everything's the same in the Mastery. So that's what you're looking at in terms of stats on this ship. It's pretty much Tier 5 retrofit T5-U upgraded stats. Same stats, but we've got a little bit of extra ability here with some things. So number one, let's show off the shuttles. This launches level 61 shuttles, so we can do this once. And they pop out the rear here. And then when this cools down, I can do it again. So I can have 2 wings of fighters with me, basically. So we'll let this cool down. The cooldown on it's a little long. I wish it was shorter, but now we can launch the second wing. And here they are, all here. I've got 6 of them now. 6 Type 10 shuttles fighting with me. Or supporting me. I can set them to do different roles. I can set them to attack. I can set them to escort, causes pets to defend. Or I can set them to intercept. Pets will remain around the carrier focusing on hostile torpedoes and fighters. Or I can recall them all. I like to just use attack. Let them attack what I'm attacking. And that seems to work fine. So I've got 6 extra weapons basically here. Now they do have a hull strength themselves. 5,289 is their hull strength. So not a huge amount, but they do have polarized hull. See if I can get one in the shot here. Oh, there we go. That's a good view of them right there. So that's what they look like, these little things here. These are my Type 10 shuttles. So that's pretty cool. So that adds a little extra firepower to this ship. And then of course we have the Spinal Lance. And here it is. 45-degree targeting arc, so it's not huge. But it does do 13,927 phaser damage times 2 to the target. And a 2.5 chance of disabling one subsystem for 5 seconds. So it does a massive amount of phaser damage, but it will not do that if the shields are up. It does not do a very good job at penetrating shields. So if the shields are full on a ship, you're pretty much going to waste it by firing it. So what you want to do is get their shields down first, drain their shields, and then hit this thing straight on the hull of the ship, and you will do a lot of damage. Of course, you can buff that with like emergency power to weapons. Now it's 14,000 phaser damage. So you know if you buff your power and buff phaser energy, you can get that higher. So that is the extra ability there. We have, of course, all my other abilities. We've kind of been over in the previous video. I'm not even going to rehash them. The Cloaking Device. So here's the Cloaking Device. You get, after 3 seconds, plus 5,000 stealth, minus 5 current shield power, however, but you get a plus 50 defense rating. After decloaking, you gain a plus 15% bonus damage for a brief duration. So check this out. My phaser is 13927. So it's still 13927, and now I'm cloaked. Now while you're cloaked, you can buff things, and you will remain cloaked. Then, if I decloak, the damage of this should go up. Yeah, 15,935 now. So you do get a little bit more damage for a short amount of time out of your weapons. And that goes for all weapons, not just the phaser Spinal Lance, but all weapons. So if we go here to this, and we look at my dual phasers, for example, 1665 DPS, and I cloak, when I decloak, that should be more. Yeah, 1894 DPS. So you can see how decloaking will give you a little bit more damage there for a brief time. So that's something that can help you. You can fly very close to the enemy and then decloak and fire, and you will immediately do more damage than you would normally. So that's a tactic that you can use. And you can buff things while you're cloaked. So I can cloak, then I can buff that and that and that and that, and get all my stuff ready. And then decloak, and now I'm doing a ton of phaser damage. Look at all that. 1881 DPS. So that is a tactic you can use when flying. So keep that in mind. You want to cloak and then decloak when you're on them and fire. Now, this is 1665 DPS. We kind of went over this in the last video. This is 1583. None of this stuff should really change. Should be the same. Which it looks to be very close or the same. So pretty much the same firepower on all the other weapons. Now that it's upgraded to Tier 5-U. If I only had the Tier 5 version, however, I wouldn't have that second tactical slot, or that third tactical slot. I'd only have 2. So I would actually have less phaser damage on the non-T5-U version. So those are going to be the main powers that we're going to look at on this Dreadnought when we take this into combat. The things I want you to focus and look at is, number 1, using the shuttles, using these fighters. That's going to be important to doing damage. And you're going to launch them, and you're going to want to keep launching them because they die very easy, and you're going to want to keep launching them. So you want to keep pushing this and keep relaunching them a lot. Notice also how I'll use the cloak before I start firing. And then final is the phaser Spinal Lance. I'll use it when I can, but it does have like a 2-minute cooldown or something. So the key will be to use it on not the small ships, but use it on a big ship, and only use it when their shields are down. Because if I use it when their shields are up, I've pretty much wasted it and it's pointless. But I can bring their shields down pretty good with this build because I have the quantum destabilizing beam, which is going to drain their shields, and I also have the quantum catalyst set on here, which is going to drain shields anyway. My weapons and my torpedo and all that does shield drain on the enemy. So that will be good in bringing their shields down, and then once the shields are down on the big ships, then I can fire off the phaser Spinal Lance. So you want to get a good hit on it, so you want to be pretty close when you use it too. Accuracy is a thing on it. It can miss, so you want to be pretty close to the enemy. So those are the things to look at as we go in battle here. I'll be using all of those things, and you can see how that will aid in our destruction ability, which is actually very good. Last night I spent a while playing a lot of things on this, a lot of different SDFs, some I haven't played in a while, some real hard ones. and this ship just flew by. I mean, and anything advanced, no problem. Even though it's got the same stats as the previous ship, I've got a lot of healing abilities as an engineer, and I also have the ability to do a lot of damage now with the shuttles, with the fighters, 6 fighters firing with me. I can really wear down an enemy very fast. And then the phaser Spinal Lance as the final blow. So this is actually a definitely more powerful build than my last ship, the T5-U retrofit. It's definitely more powerful than that, and I do not miss saucer separation or antimatter spread at all on this ship. Just don't miss them. I really do not. I find that the shuttles are a lot better at doing more damage than that saucer separation ever did. With the saucer separation, you just have 1 pet. With these shuttles here, I've got 6. The enemy wears down a lot faster with these shuttles than it did with the saucer separation. So I do not miss saucer separation at all on this thing. I prefer this ship over the previous one we just flew. And I'll reiterate that again at the end of the video, because this one really is much better. Even though the stats are the same, it's still much better than the last ship we just flew. Much better. I have much more fun with this ship. So that's what we're going to do now, is have some fun with this ship. I'm going to pause the video and we're going to queue up all the usual stuff. I'll start again with a Zenkethi red alert, and we'll go from there. Now, I'm not going to do anything else on normal except for the Zenkethi red alert. I'm not going to do any normal STF runs. I'm going to do them all on advanced. There's no reason to show normal level difficulty with this ship. It aces normal level difficulty. This ship is definitely for advanced and up. Even though it's tier 5 or tier 5U, it's definitely for advanced level and upwards. So that's what I'm going to showcase today with this ship. Alright, so at this point I'll pause the video and we'll come back when the Zenkethi red alert has popped. And here we go, the red alert Zenkethi and the Galaxy Dreadnought tier 5U. So first thing I'm going to do is launch my fighters. That's the first thing most people do at the beginning of these. Of course, it's a pretty long cooldown before you can launch the next wing, but I should be able to launch it before this starts, and then also Cloak as well. So here we go. I'm going to launch the second wing, and now I'm going to Cloak. Yeah, I made it just in time, and I can get over there.
All ships, this is Martok. Prepare for battle.
And I can buff up, and then decloak and go. Now what you want to watch is your fighters and make sure they don't die, and if they are dying, you will want to replace them.
Get their cruisers first. They're the backbone of a Zenkethi fleet. Destroy enemy battleships to bring out their dreadnought. They're launching protomatter torpedoes. Destroy them and take out those ships.
Now I gotta bring down the shields of this big ship, and then we can use my Spinal Lance on it. Try to get it from behind here. Okay, now I'm going to Spinal Lance it. I think I might have still hit the shields on that one. I know I should have taken out the battleships first, but I really wanted to take the big one out first. And I did. I want to get over here and get these ships trying to take out our satellite. I think there's only 2 people on this side. Me and nobody now.
Satellite.
Crap.
Watch for torpedo attacks.
Man. Oh no, a protomatter bomb got to it. I wasn't even watching the other side. Oh my gosh. I was only concentrated on our side. I wasn't watching the other side. I think there were 3 people on the other side though. How did they let that happen? Seriously, how did they let that happen? I know it wasn't a protomatter from our side because there were no protomatter bombs on our side. So it was the other side. Dang. And I think there were 3 people on that side too. How did they let that happen? Well, that goes to show you guys what can happen in a pug. You never know if it's going to go good or bad, or if you'll fail or succeed. And well, I just happened to fail. So I'm going to leave this video in this video because this is a good example of pugging and what can happen in a pug, and this is why you need to watch what's happening yourself on both sides, whether there's other people playing or not, because they may not be doing their job, and apparently they didn't do their job. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch this video and see what was happening on the other side, because to be honest with you, I'm going to be 100% honest, I wasn't even looking at the other satellite. I was just looking at our main battle group, trying to take it out, trying to get those protomatter torpedoes out first, because that's what matters, that's what fails you in this. And then I was going to take out the ones near our satellite so it wouldn't be destroyed. And there was somebody else helping me. I know there was 1 person on my side, so that means the remainder 3 people should have been on this side and should have been able to take care of all of that, and they didn't. So that's concerning. Oh well. I'm going to leave this video in here because it's a good example of how things go sometimes. But suffice it to say, I'm not going to replay this, but suffice it to say, this specific ship can handle this no problem. Really it can. Those big battleships, they're pretty tough, the ones that are throwing out those protomatter bombs, and they were doing a lot of damage to me, but I was like the only person firing on it too. And all those ships were on me at once, and yet I was able to sustain myself pretty well. I came very close to blowing up, but with my engineering heals that I have, I was able to take that on pretty well. And I'm not even a tier 6 ship. This is tier 5-U, so that is pretty impressive, and just goes to show that this ship definitely is a very good ship and a very good in-game ship. Okay, let's do some advanced stuff now. I'm going to take my chances and do the Dreadnought Gauntlet. Let's do the Dreadnought Gauntlet on advanced and take our chances, shall we? This could also go badly, but you never know. So I'm just gonna let it go, and whatever happens, happens. Pretty much that. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video though and let this queue up. So stand by. Okay, here is hoping for a better run this time. I am pugging the Dreadnought Gauntlet on advanced. So let's see how this goes. Similar to how I started off the last one. Oh look, I got another Galaxy class with me.
We don't have a lot of time.
I'm going to launch my fighters immediately. I got 40 seconds, so we're good. I'm going to launch 2 wings of fighters, and then I'm going to cloak, and then we're going to take out the middle group, and then in the next round we're going to go to the left. Going left on first round. That way I just let the team know where I'm headed. Okay, all of my fighters are out. Now I'm gonna cloak. And we're pretty much ready to go. Let's see what we got here.
They're on an intercept course.
Ah, Vodwar. A wing of my fighters died. Oh, there's still a ship over there. Okay, they got it. Alright, now let's get all of these thingies done here.
Parts are ready.
Activating satellites. Look at that. And there's like, when nobody, like these people out here hanging out here not doing the satellites, you know they don't really know what they're doing. Okay, let's, might not have ever played this before. I can understand that. Alright, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to cloak so I can decloak. All my fighters are ready to go.
Enemy signals on sensors. Get ready.
They really hit hard. Wow, they are coming right at me. I gotta move. Look at that. That stupid ability they have really kills you. Mesmerized. Man, I'm not going to survive this. This is rough. The Vodwar, man. They are a rough enemy. Rough. That AoE attack they have is killer. Absolutely killer. Spinal Lance. Oh yeah, that's a good use of the Spinal Lance right there. That's how you use the Spinal Lance. These ships are so tough, man. That attack they do, this one right here. I mean, man, it really kills your hull. What? How did he do that? My fighters can't stay alive in all of this. They're really having a hard time. I was going to hit him with the Spinal Lance, but his shields came back up. There we go. Ow. Wow. They are really tough, man. Yeah, my fighters are having a hard time staying alive in all of this. That AoE attack is just rough. I mean, really rough. Oh, wow. Oh boy, the Vodwar are not to be messed with. Again, this is advanced, not normal, so I mean it's really difficult. The Vodwar attack is really, really brutal, and it's so hard on my fighters, my shuttles. They cannot stay alive. So this is definitely a good test of testing out a ship, that's for sure. Okie dokie. Now it's time for the middle. Where's that guy going? Way over there. Alright, let's do this. Right in the middle. That's where they're gonna pop now. I got the pattern down now.
Hang on up there.
All my fighters are already dead. Jeez. Look at the Juggernaut. Holy crap. Ow. Ow. That hurts a lot. That Juggernaut, man, he is crazy. He is crazy. Shield's down. Nope, shield's back up. I was going to hit him with the Spinal Lance, but his shield came back up. Once I can get a good shot without his shield, I'm hitting that Spinal Lance. I got a good shot on him, but didn't do a ton of damage. Not enough as I wanted. He's real tough. And he's gone. And there's another one. Holy crap. Just one after another. Literally one after another. Ow. Pretty rough.
Enemy fleets have disengaged.
At least we passed it. Wow.
Looks like the assault.
I don't think I even need to say it. This is one tough STF here in advanced mode with the Vodwar. Now I have to say I did this earlier with the Borg, and it wasn't that hard with the Borg. The Borg were actually easier than the Vodwar, and all of my fighters actually stayed alive with the Borg, oddly enough. But with the Vodwar, the fighters just cannot survive with that AoE attack that the Vodwar have. They just die instantly. And even myself, it's just a very, very hard enemy on advanced mode. But it's still fun. I really enjoyed it. And it's a good test of your ship build. If you're trying to build a tanky ship, play this STF Dreadnought Gauntlet on advanced. And an enemy like the Voth, or the Iconians, or the Vodwar. Those three right there will really test your ship. Really test your ship. No doubt about that. The Borg are actually one of the easier ones to take out in this STF. So that's pretty rough and tough. But Tier 5-U, and I'm pulling through. I'm able to do it. I mean, I'm able to have fun with it. Sure, I blow up a few times, but you're going to, even with a Tier 6 ship in that. There's no way. There's no way you're going to be able to just tank through everything. Okay, let's see. I don't have any lasting damage. That's what I wanted to check on. So I don't need to go heal anything. That's good. So that means we can move on to the next thing. And I'm going to do a little bit different here with this video than I did the last few. We're going to do a couple of different things. Let's queue up Crystalline Entity, or Catastrophe. And let's do it on advanced. And then after I do Crystalline Catastrophe, we're actually going to do a patrol. so that I can show you how the shuttles fight, to show you their firepower, and then also to show you the Spinal Lance a little bit closer up. And so to do that, we'll just go into a patrol where we're by ourselves, and we will take a look at those features a little more close up at hand. But first, let's do Crystalline Catastrophe, because I had fun with this the other night when I did this again. It was real fun in this ship, and we blew through it. I mean, blew through it real fast, so this one typically goes pretty fast if you have a good team. I mean, you got 10 people in this one, so it should be not too bad. And we're almost there, in fact, so that's pretty fast queuing, hopefully. Group has been matched. This should pop soon, I think. Won't have to pause the video. Yeah, this ship is just a whole lot more fun than I had with the retrofit, because I'm able to use those fighters, the shuttles there, and I'm able to use that Spinal Lance, and the shuttles are so much better than the saucer separation, the 6 fighter craft. Now I'm using Type 10 shuttles. Again, you can use different things here. You could use runabouts, you could use Delta Flyers, you could use Peregrine Fighters. So your choice there on this ship, which is quite nice. But I had not used these Type 10 shuttles before, so I wanted to go ahead and use them in this build so that I could try them out, because I've never used them in any build yet. I always use Delta Flyers for some reason, but I wanted to try these out. This is the part about the new queuing system that I don't like, is that you click accept like you just saw me do, but then there's no telling when it's actually going to start, and you could be right in the middle of something and it'll just throw you into the queue. It'll just start it automatically. And there's no like timer or thing that shows you when it's going to throw you in there. So you're just sitting here after I clicked accepted, you're just sitting here waiting for it to warp out and go in. And actually it looked like people didn't even click their thing, so they declined it. So now I have to wait even longer on that. But this Dreadnought X is Galaxy X is real nice here, and of course, obviously, naturally, the Tier 6 is going to be just a little bit more powerful. It's going to have a higher hull strength, and it's going to have specialized seating probably, and other stuff like that. But honestly, you can get by just fine on the Tier 5 or Tier 5-U version. Alright, here we go. Crystalline Catastrophe. I'm not going to launch my shuttles. I might when I get there, we'll see. I'm going to cloak. Get within range. I like to take the high road up here. Look at that. See, it's already being worn down real fast, so... Spinal Lance. That was real fast and easy. I came in 3rd place there. Not bad. Real fast and easy on that. Easy marks for that one. I like it. It used to be really difficult a long time ago. Like when this thing first came out, it was difficult, but they really made it too easy now. Anyway, I just thought I'd do something a little different there to show you. Alright, let's go into a patrol, and I'll show you some of these features a little more up close. And then we'll go do a regular ISA run as well after that. And that should be a good indication for you of how this ship performs in battle. Let's do good old Japori. Why not? Everybody knows Japori. So I'm going slipstream 38.39. And without it, I think I do 12.8. Yep, 12.81. So the first thing I'm going to demonstrate is the shuttles. When we get to Japori, I'm going to just launch the shuttles. I do have to fire on the enemy so that my shuttles will fire, I think. And then once I do that, I'm going to back off on the firing and let my shuttles just do the work. And I'll show you the kind of firepower they have. So first, let's launch them all. And I gotta wait for it to cool down so I can launch the next wing. I'm not gonna cloak. Actually, if I click on it, they go toward it, just like that. Okay. Alright, now let's go toward it and let's watch them in action. They should start firing. Yeah, there they go. See, they're doing pretty good damage. Once they all start firing, they gotta get in range. There they go. Look at that. I'm not even doing anything, and they're already wearing it down pretty good. They got torpedoes, too. One went down. But I relaunched him. So look at that. I didn't even fire. I don't even have to fire on him. Of course I will. So just constantly keep an eye on how many fighters you have out there. And if any of them die, you want to definitely replenish them. So there you go. That's a nice little patrol there. That shows the shuttle ability. Now let's go use the Spinal Lance. I'm going to go to the Romulan one and use this on a warbird. Not a warbird, but a Daredevil. Let's see. I believe that the... Is it Karaya that is the Romulans? I think so. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use a combo here, and this is a really good combo with this build. I'm going to use this, the Quantum Destabilizer Beam, and my energy weapons to drain their shields. Then once the shield is down on the Daredevils, boom, I'm going to hit them with the Phaser Lance. And what you're going to see is awesomeness. It's a good combo move. I'm not going to launch my shuttles for this one. No, I don't want to add to the firepower. I just want to show you what the Spinal Lance itself can do. Yep. Okay, so what I will do is buff those things up. You know, buff all my normal
These
stuff.
These guys picked the wrong system.
That I would buff up. Now I'm going to go do this. And when his shield is down, then I'm going to hit him with that. Pretty cool right there, huh? Brought him pretty far down just with that shot. And then finish him off. So that's a pretty good combo right there to use. Now, of course, with my shuttles, I'll go ahead and launch them. I can do more damage. Fire that off, and that'll do kinetic damage to him. As you can see, very powerful. Really no problem for this ship at all. And we're done. Now, if I were to have cloaked and came out of cloak and also hit the Dare decks with the weapons after I had decloaked, I would have also done a little bit more damage. So really, if you use everything to its full ability, you can do quite a bit of damage. You just have to remember to do it. There's a lot of things to do at once, and you may not remember or have the time to do everything at once. But if you get the right shot with a phaser lance, and you have it buffed with emergency power to weapons and stuff like that, you can do a lot of damage with that phaser. Let's do a Tholian Red Alert, and then we'll do a Conduit Advanced. Let's do Tholian Red Alert. I think I matched that. Did that right? Yeah, okay. Okay, launch my fighters. I'll go ahead and cloak. And decloak and fire.
Congratulations, Admiral.
Okay, we've got the big ships there. I don't know that I'm ready for them just yet. Kind of want to take out these orb weavers first. Crap. Now I'm stuck on a web. Yes, that was good. There you go, Tholian Red Alert. Nice and easy in this ship. Like having the ability on those big ships of having that phaser lance and then of course the stabilizing beam together. And you just got to keep launching the shuttles. That seems to be, you know, one of those annoying things, but they die so fast that you have to keep launching them. I wish there was like an auto launch feature where like if they all die, it would auto-launch them for you. That's the lazy way out, I guess. But I wouldn't mind it still. Let's do one last thing. Let's do Infected Conduit Advanced. And Pug it a course here. And this will be the last thing we do here on this ship. All advanced runs. It just shows how good this ship is. Like I said, last night I was tearing through a lot of stuff and just having a lot of fun with this ship. It's the same specs as the Tier 5 retrofit upgrade, but it's more fun because of the shuttles and the Spinal Lance that you have there. Because the saucer separation just never really did anything for me, but those shuttles, having these two-wing hangar bay here, it really does help. So, I like that. Let's see, hopefully this will go quickly. Well, it's join channel match. Again, we're in that place where you don't know when it's going to pop. You could be in the middle of something just like that, and then boom, it pops you right in and messes you up on everything. That's what I hate about this new queue system. Alright. Now, usually if you're in a pre-made team, other team members would wait for you here as you launch all your shuttles. But we're in a pickup, or in a pug, so people are not going to wait probably. There they go right now. So I'm not going to be able to launch my second wing here, so let's just go. This guy's already over here. Look at this. He didn't even wait for the rest of everybody. Now you can use your Spinal Lance on things like this too, if you needed to. It's going down pretty fast, so I'm not going to. But you could. You can use it on things like that, which really does help. stabilizing beam. Get the shield down, and then I'll use the Spinal Lance. There we go. Yeah, there we go. That was a good hit. Again, I don't think the Spinal Lance does as much damage as it should, but it's not terrible anyway. It does help. There you go. Infected Space Advanced. Very good run of that. Very cool. It shows you that you can do these STFs really no problem with this ship, and it's really a lot of fun. You just have to keep spamming those shuttles a lot, but otherwise, it's really a lot of fun with this ship. Having the extra weaponry like the Spinal Lance and the shuttles just really makes this thing sing. And the Cloaking Device can help too. I don't use it a whole lot, but it can help. So if you time things right and you hit things in the right order, it can buff your damage. So that's important if you want to get peak damage or something like that. That is also something you can do. So let's wrap up this video because it's really straightforward, pretty simple here. There's really not a ton to talk about or go over with this ship. It is very similar to the Tier 5-U retrofit that we looked at already. It basically just has a hangar bay and the phaser Spinal Lance. And that really makes it powerful. Like I said, I don't miss saucer separation, and I don't miss antimatter spread. I would rather have the hangar bay and the Spinal Lance that this ship has over those things. I think you do a lot more damage with shuttles than you do with the saucer separation ability. However, you can put those things on the ship anyway if you own the other ship variants. Remember, those have its own set called the Enhanced Engineering System set, and you can totally put that on this ship if you have the room. And remember, the Cloaking Device is part of two sets. Part of the is part of the Maneuvering Protocol set and part of the Stealth Fighter set. The Maneuvering Protocol set adds +3 flight turn rate and defense rating to the ship, and then the Overcloaked ability on the Stealth Fighter part is a 20% recharge time reduction to Cloak after decloaking, a +1.5% crit chance bonus and critical severity bonus. And then the three-piece bonus is it upgrades Cloak to a Battle Cloak if you have all three of the cloaking things here. You have to have the quad cannons and all that, and you get the Battle Cloak. Now, my thoughts on this ship is it's too slow to fly cannons. It can support cannons, but I honestly would not put cannons on any Galaxy class. It just turns too slow. I prefer to have phasers, or beams. In this case, dual beams. That's my opinion. Better build for it. But overall, that is my look and review of the Dreadnought variant. We saw it in all good things. It was really awesome the way Admiral Riker flew the ship straight up in space. I mean, there is no up, in space, but compared to where the Klingon ship came from underneath the Klingon ship, pointed right at its hull, and then decloaked and fired that phaser lance and sliced right through the Klingon ship. That was a powerful scene in the series. And they needed to do more stuff like that because honestly, we are in space. It should operate in a 3D environment like that. You should see more stuff like that. Star Trek has always been very two-dimensional in its space travels. Wish they had done more stuff like that. But the whole scene was very cool. And in the show, that phaser's Spinal Lance was way powerful, way more powerful than it is in the game. I think they really need to beef up the power on that. I think it's underpowered. I mean, you should be able to fire this thing with shields up on a ship and punch through. But shields do play a big barrier for this weapon on this ship. If you fire it with shields up on a ship, it's not going to do any damage. You really have to, you know, bury their shields down and then fire this thing, and then it'll work. But it's still pretty cool, but it can miss, so you need to be a little close to fire it. And then the other thing is the hangar bay. You can do a lot of damage with the right hangars, the right ships, you know, elite fleet hangar bay here. And having that option really helps. Remember, it can do other things beyond just attacking. It can also act as a defense role or an escort role, or it can take out things like other fighters and torpedoes coming at you and things like that. Oh, looky there. We've got somebody else flying a Galaxy X. I'm telling you, it's an iconic ship in Star Trek, and Star Trek Online has that ship. And as an in-game ship, the Tier 5-U, Tier 5 or Tier 5-U, either one, is quite capable of being an in-game ship. It's quite capable that you can play all the mission content. You can play normal level STFs, and you can play advanced level STFs with no problem with this ship. Absolutely no problem. You'll be able to play everything, and you'll be able to have fun doing it with this ship. Like I said, look, there's another Galaxy Cruiser. They are popular right now. Look at that. I mean, 2 in a row here that have popped in right around me, just sitting here for these few minutes. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. It just shows the iconic nature of the ship. People like the look of the Enterprise D. It is an iconic ship. Look at that. Somebody's got antimatter spread on a Defiant. So yeah, you can, I guess you can have that on a... Oh, wait a minute. Maybe he didn't fire it. Maybe he fired it. I can't tell. I couldn't tell from the angle I'm looking at. It wouldn't make sense that a Defiant can fire an antimatter spread. Could it? I don't know. Whatever. Point is, Galaxy class, awesome ships. The Dreadnought version, even better. I had a lot more fun with this ship versus the Tier 5 retrofit, for sure. For sure. And so now we're ready to move on to Tier 6 in the next video. Finally, we're going to get out of the Tier 4, Tier 5 stuff, and we're going to move to the final tier ship that is in this game. And that's going to be Tier 6. And we're going to look at the Tier 6 Cruiser, which I actually don't even own, and I've never flown in this game. So it's going to be new for me. Is that the Yamato? Yamato is... Well, no, that's the Dreadnought. Never mind. I do own that one. It's the Andromeda. I do not own this ship, so I'm going to have to Z-Store buy it. But this is the Andromeda Exploration Cruiser Tier 6 version. That's what we're going to look at next. Beautiful. I'm pretty sure you can use the regular Galaxy skin on it too. But basically, it's the Tier 6 Galaxy version. Tier 6 Galaxy. So that will be very interesting to look at in the next video. So thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying this series on these Galaxy variants. It's reminding me, you know, which ship is capable of doing what in the game. And, you know, Tier 5 is in-game material in this game. It really is, with the right ship. Okay, thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for the next one.